Thank you for joining me. This is not Last Week Tonight, and I don't have the research team to compete, the legal team to prevent a lawsuit, or the face of Mr. Bean. Best to think of this as last year this morning. Now, John, even though you have no idea who the fuck I am, or why I'm about to rip off the entire structure of your show, you did take no legal action against API's rendition of your intro to, of course, this.
You just need to claim him. Our lawyers, unlike yours, will not sue. And
that's the face of a man who definitely should have been left in a writer's room. Now, despite how you feel about that right now, HBO has done some amazing work over the years, from saving educational programming like Sesame Street to producing fearless documentaries like Citizen4. But back in May, you may have seen a story which was a little less selfless.
HBO, the makers of Game of Thrones, are taking legal action against Pornhub for breach of copyright. Apparently, HBO isn't all that happy about the fact that scenes from the show, as well as Game of Thrones parody porns, keep getting uploaded onto the porn streaming giant, Pornhub. This is hilarious.
Now, we can argue the merits of HBO's case, or even the degree of negligence Pornhub's staff had in republishing the content. But I'd like to show for a minute how this works well for both parties. In April, a month before the lawsuit, Pornhub released information regarding Game of Thrones related searches. This graph represents a 370% increase in Game of Thrones related searches leading up to the premiere. And indeed, Pornhub reported a 4% decrease in viewership during that same episode. Now, also in April, Cornhub touched the heart of a lot of people, but guys, don't plan the plan if you can't follow through. As scandalous as the titles were, 9 minutes of the hardest shucking I've ever seen couldn't have been that far out of your reach. I get it though, I get it. You guys are busy teaching a generation of men exactly what a lady doesn't want in the bedroom. I got you though. Even if we assume Pornhub knowingly republished these videos and did so with the intent to hurt HBO, which at best is a hard argument to make. It's not like that's the only place you can find Peter Dinklage tossing a long-legged brunette on their back.
call me Elf one more time.
Now, HBO produces some of the filthiest sex scenes imaginable. And trust me, they are now doing scenes imagined by this guy. This guy. Thank God he knows how to write novels. Can you imagine what he would be up to if he wrote for Last Week Tonight? I assume it would lead to a much smaller staff because a few people ignored Janice's fucking memo. And now, this.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. If you like that, click the subscribe button below, and good things will happen forever.
Go to youtube.com/Fallon Tonight and subscribe. There's a lot of fun videos.
If you like that, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest videos.
Go subscribe right now by clicking here.
If you don't click subscribe, this invisible hamster will die.
Hey, if this is going in and out, just click and you don't have to see this anymore.
Right, you won't.
Yeah.
Our main story tonight, South Carolina Human Trafficking Prevention Act. Recently, a new bill was introduced into the South Carolina legislature. They are seeking to require manufacturers to design and install a chip which would limit porn on every computer sold in the state. The end user would then pay $20 to disable the chip. And when you Google porn chip, that's not what you find. This is. I did not have to show you that. Now, pornography does drive the demand for sex trafficking, and Catherine McKinnon, a professor at Harvard Law, says consuming porn is an experience of bought sex. Because of this, the porn industry is heavily regulated, and pornography produced in the US has strict requirements regarding human trafficking. And it's important to remember, these are already crimes, with huge consequences for those involved. And I'm not saying viewing porn is even healthy, or that the porn industry doesn't have any involvement in human trafficking, because the opposite is clearly true.
See, pornography is integral to human trafficking and prostitution. In 9 countries, almost half, 49%, said that pornography was made of them while they were in prostitution. This generation fights sex trafficking more than anyone ever has, and more than anyone ever has, this generation consumes porn. Fighting human trafficking and then watching porn is like protesting a corrupt politician and then donating to his campaign.
But let's put that aside for a minute and look at the goal here. This is intended to reduce sex trafficking by limiting the pornography available. The man who proposed it, Representative Chumley, just 2 years ago was brought up against the House Ethics Committee for inappropriate use of taxpayer funds. This case was dismissed as they found he was not knowingly breaking the law, which makes sense because he doesn't seem to know very much. Kate D'Adamo, the national policy expert for the Urban Justice Center Sex Workers Project, said at its core this bill misunderstands trafficking and that there's also no evidence that this will in any way deter traffickers. You might say, well, people will just pay the $20. What happened if that fee went to $50? $50 a month, $100, $1,000? Why limit it just to porn? It'd be pretty easy to filter the content of the internet based on whatever the legislators thought was appropriate. From educational materials regarding sex to violence in video games. Bill Chumley stated that this was just the beginning point and changes could be made. We're not just talking about pornography in a traditional sense, but any sexually explicit material, after all. Isn't porn just really another form of expression? Even if this is the only expression you're trying to share. You're probably taking for granted things that could already be impacted. Remember what HBO was to you as a kid? You fell asleep to Tomb Raider and woke up a few hours later to your first lesson in The Birds and the Bees. If HBO is limited under this, which this law would allow, you wouldn't be just denying people political satires like Last Week Tonight, but also this.
Jamie, no, babe, please.
It's disgusting. That's my favorite show. Not my favorite incest couple, though. I got my fingers crossed for you, too. Now I'm definitely getting sued. Now I know I have broken far more copyright laws than either HBO or Pornhub ever have, so I returned to my 4th grade understanding of basic copyright laws, and I figured I should probably let you know HBO and Pornhub were not involved in making this piece, as will be clear when they shut this shit down. I also left this space in the video for whatever any of those entities would like to disclose, as well as YouTubers. This space is for you. For whatever legal sounding bullshit you think might be helpful. Just send to Last Week Tonight with the hashtag here's some bullshit to help prevent a lawsuit. My pocketbook thanks you. So, to John Oliver and team, I want to say this was a labor of love. To HBO and Pornhub, this obviously impacts both of you guys. Unite! To Laura, I'd like to say thank you for making this possible. And to the YouTubers of the world, get this bullshit out there! Thank you so much. That's our show. Good night.